I'd like to call to order the regular meeting for Chapter City Council Tuesday, April 5th, 2022. Let the record show all members of the council are present with Mayor Pro Tem Givens on Zoom and also our city managers on Zoom. The Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Councilmember Lopez and the invocation by Councilmember Espinoza.
Salute, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's pray. Thank you, Lord, for this day that you've given us. Thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight and discuss the business of the city. Be with us, give us wisdom and guidance. We ask this through your son's name, Jesus Christ, and everyone says,
Amen. Okay, call for approval of agenda.
I'll approve it. Make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilmember Lopez, seconded by Councilmember Espinoza to approve the agenda as written.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. The first item is a presentation and a proclamation for DMV Donate Life California, April 2022. Yes. Should I come down there or can we call her up? Okay. Guess you want to be able to record it, huh? Okay. I know, it's been a couple of years since we've had you here.
I know, ever since COVID.
I know it, but we're all ready to go again. So it is a privilege and a pleasure to be here to present this to you. It's a proclamation for the DMV Donate Life California, month of April 2022. And whereas organ, eye, tissue, marrow, and blood donations are life-giving acts recognized worldwide as expressions of compassion to those in need. And whereas more than 100,000 individuals nationwide and more than 20,000 in California are currently on the National Organ Transplant Waiting List. And on average, 17 people die each day while waiting. And whereas the need for donated organs is especially urgent in Hispanic, Latino, and African American communities. And whereas a single individual's donation of the heart, lungs, liver, kidneys, pancreas, and small intestine can save up to 8 lives. And whereas donation of tissue can save and heal the lives of more than 75 others. And whereas organ donors saved more than 40,000 lives last year, the most ever. And whereas any person can register to be an organ, eye, and tissue donor, regardless of age or medical conditions. And whereas being a registered donor does not impact the quality of life-saving medical care a person receives in an emergency. And whereas California residents can sign up with the Donate Life California Donor Registry online at any time by visiting www.donatelifecalifornia.org, or for Spanish speakers, www.donatevitacalifornia.org. And whereas California residents can sign up to be an organ, eye, and tissue donor when applying for or renewing their driver's license or ID cards at the California Department of Motor Vehicles. And whereas California residents interested in saving a life through living kidney donation may visit www.livingdonationcalifornia.org. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Kathy L. Prout, Mayor of the City of Shafter, on behalf of the entire City Council, do hereby proclaim the month of April 2022 as DMV Donate Life Month in the City of Shafter. And in doing so, we encourage all Californians to check yes online or when applying for or renewing your driver's license or ID card at the DMV. Passed and adopted this day. So happy to have you. Yeah.
Since a lot of you are new, probably haven't heard my story. Mayor Prout has been such a great supporter. I'd like to just kind of tell you how I got involved with this and why I feel so passionate about it. So my son was getting ready to start his junior year at Cal Poly, and he was home in Bakersfield working over the summer. Well, he woke up one morning and his ankles were just huge, super swollen. It's like most parents, I'm kind of panicking. We sent him to our primary care physician. 2 days later, they called my son and told him he was in kidney failure. And we were just like, what? How can you just wake up and be in kidney failure? He was young, athletic. We don't have a history of kidney disease on either side of our family. So, I mean, literally it just popped up out of nowhere. Trip to the nephrologist, confirmed the diagnosis. He began these kind of heroic efforts to try and get his kidneys going again. But unfortunately, 10 days later, we're back in the doctor's office and he told I'll never forget him walking in and telling my son, I'm so sorry, but you're not responding to the treatment. And the reality of it is, unless you begin dialysis, Chris, you will die. And my son's eyes immediately teared up. And I remember his lower lip just started
No.
trembling because it had literally only been 14 days since he even woke up with swollen ankles. And he thought it was, man, it's an allergy or something. 2 hours later, we're at the hospital. They put an ash cath, kind of a port, and he started dialysis 8 o'clock the next morning. I mean, it was hard. And for me, seeing that tube hanging from his chest and him attached to a machine, knowing that that machine was the only thing keeping him alive, was probably one of the hardest days of my life. So to make a long story really short, as soon as I heard about living donation, that you could donate a kidney, I was like on it. And I was like, what do I need to do? I had 3 months of intensive testing. I finally got the green light. And I'm happy to say that last week we hit our 11-year mark. And I'm super proud of my son. He's married now. He's have 2 great kids.
Oh, wow.
So thank you. I have seen firsthand the amazing work of transplantation, how it can literally save someone's life. And Kathy knows very well that clerk that was here before, Christine Wilson, she's truly amazing. To donate to a stranger to save their life, I mean, to me, that's absolutely amazing. Easy when it's your son. But just I don't know, I'm just hoping that if anyone's out there and they're not a registered donor, just consider it. I mean, it's easy. It only happens after you have passed away, unless you want to be a living donor. And it's one of the greatest things you can do for your fellow man. So I love Chapter. I enjoy coming out and speaking to the students. I love being out here. This is every time I hear someone say they're from Chapter, I'm like, oh my gosh, I love Chapter. You guys are, I mean it. You guys are so blessed to live in this city. It's I think it's a well-kept secret. And I hope you guys never get big like Bakersfield, because you have something really special here. So thank you very, very much for your continued support. It means a lot to me. Thank
Well,
you.
we
Thank
should
you.
say thank you to you, because you've given a lot of your time personally, but you've done it not just in Chapter, but in other places too. And you've always had good response. And today's society is even better than it was. So people are at least putting their name in there.
Your kids are great too in
Yeah.
Chapter. They're so polite.
Yeah.
It's refreshing to come out here and they still say yes, ma'am, and have
Mhm.
manners. Can't say
Got
that about
that.
every high school I go to.
Yeah, that's right.
So
Thank you.
Thank you,
Kathy.
ma'am.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. Okay, we'll move on to public comment. Anyone else in the audience have anything they'd like to bring forward and share with everyone? Public comment time is now open. Hearing none. Close public comment time. Council announcements and reports. Pete, you have something?
Yes, I attended the War Dog Park ceremony on Saturday morning, and it was nice to see a nice turnout with everyone with their four-legged friends.
There were-
And the park is beautiful. The park is beautiful, and it has 2 designated areas, one for the larger dogs and one for smaller dogs. And then the statue is right in the middle, right in center place. Very well done. I liked it very much. The other thing I did on this last Saturday was I attended a conference in Selma, and that's water education for Latino leaders. And that was an eye-opening experience. California is coming up to some, very tough decisions that they're going to have to make regarding water. So, you know, those are going to be some serious choices we're going to have to make. So I did attend that, and that's about all I have.
Caesar?
Not too much to report. My life revolves basically around my family and work quite a bit in coaching. But I spoke to quite a few members of the Cosmo Grove community via social media here lately. They voiced their concerns about quite a few things that they would like to see, mainly pertaining to stop signs in different areas, more police presence out there. They also brought up what we spoke to her about earlier about a substation as well. And I know that's in the discussion phase right now, but they feel that's a huge need right now. Amongst other things, I'm gonna put a list together and share with you, Mike, and the chief as well, and Gabriel. But they have a lot of different ideas of what can make their community better. I'll be doing the same thing with the core city, but that's just Cosmo Grove at this time. That's all I have. Ms. Kathy.
Okay, thank you. Gilbert?
You know, excuse me, I had the opportunity to be at the Chambers dinner on the 21st, which was on Thursday. I just want to
You were there too.
tell all the ones that were given recognition and awards. Congratulations again for the hard work that they've done to earn those awards. Also, I had the opportunity to go to the War Dog dedication, which was on the 26th on Saturday. Just like Councilmember Espinoza had said, it is a nice park, and the chief was there, so the mayor was there, Mike James was there. It was a great day. Actually, the day was pretty too.
Yeah, it was.
So because everything was nice. The statue of the service dog was there, and it was very, very nice. And I said, well, now I know what I could get in my corner of my house. So, also this Saturday, which was just a couple of days ago, the 2nd, I had the opportunity to be part of I visited and I participated as far as taking some stuff to the bulk waste here at the Aquatic Center with American Refuge, with American Refuge with Jeff and Linda and Mike James and Angie from the Community Action Partners was there. And I just want to say thank you very much for putting that out, because I think that helps our community in a big way. Sometimes we take things for granted and we just assume people just drive to Schofield and take the stuff there. For whatever reason, sometimes people just don't have the opportunity. And having these kind of events in our community makes it a lot easier for those folks to get rid of those sofas and those mattresses instead of putting them in our alleys. So again, Jeff and the city and everyone that participated or made that happen, thank you again for that. That was actually a good day too. And I think that's pretty much all I have.
Okay. I have a few things I'd like to share with everybody. We did have the GAF recognition day over at the library and the expanded learning center that GAF was partnered with us and have made such an eye-catching display over there, as well as participation from our families with our young kids and all. It just, it's just been great to have that facility and to see what can happen here. Then on the 17th of March, I was at a COG meeting, and at the COG meeting, they talked about the recognition of the cities that were awarded the funding for California, or Clean California. And the highlight is that they had, and I have to share this because there was $296 million statewide that was being offered, and Caltrans was really pushing, they were the lead agency on this one. 34 different groups in Kern County applied, and 27 million was awarded to 6 of the places that were applied in Kern County, and Chapter, of course, was one of them with a 4.6. Bakersfield had a 4.2 million, Wasco received 5 million, Tehachapi had 2 million, Ridgecrest had 1.8 million, and then the county picked up 9.2 million, which would go to Heritage, Mojave, and Lost Hills. So there was quite a big area that got funding and were recognized as this event. And I felt good because Caltrans was even announcing to everybody there through their meeting that our application was really well deserved because of what we submitted with all of our parks being included in it, and especially the way that ours was written. And I did pass it on to staff already. I mean, we had a short time to submit, and yet it was really excellent to hear those positive remarks and how we put it together and how it came out. So I say congratulations to our staff and to Shafter. Also, I have this Valley Voices that I've been keep attending, and we had a Zoom meeting with all the legislators, or a morning session with legislators in Sacramento, and we've urged at least the completion of 99, which if you use the traffic or the travel going north, you know that Tulare County, Madera County, and Merced and Fresno really have the need to finish that 99. So we're hoping that with this surplus of funding in the state, that they will make sure that that continues to be finished, even though they want us to get out of our cars. I think it's important that they at least address that. We're still going to be driving on the road. Also, we had a farewell lunch for one of our longtime young people that worked for us, Jasmine Lomelai. She interned with us through her high school days, and she also interned with us through college. And since college, I believe she's been here almost 2 years. And so now she wants to go back and get her next degree, but in the meantime, they picked her up at the school in Lost Hills, and she'll be working with kindergartners. And so it was really fun to be able to say to her, congratulations, and wish her well, because she's going to do well. She's given us a lot of time. She's worked in a lot of different departments and really has gained. I don't know if she's ever been out to Public Works much, but yes, she has too. Yeah, see, she's been everywhere. She really was very pleasant with everybody and everywhere. So it was really fun to have her for all those years. And maybe we'll find another one that wants to come in to do some intern work too for us. And also the city of, or the Chamber of Commerce did their annual awards presentation, and we were all there except for Mayor Pro Tem Givens, who had to be out of town on a business with his job. But it was very positive in the remarks that we were able to present for the state of the city. But also, as you heard, the congratulations to all the ones that we recognized. We had young people who were involved. There was a group of 5 involved in putting the mural in down by the Learning Center, as well as recognition in education and community service in our Citizen of the Year. Outstanding. Katie Wiebe has been just popping up everywhere. Pretty excited for her, but all the others are just as deserving. And there's a lot of other people in the community that do contribute back to Shafter to make our city bigger and better. There was also a special memorial recognition award for Ricky Barraza, who is a young guy who was killed in the service years ago. And they now presented her with I wish I could have seen it work. Have you seen it work?
No.
Yeah, it's a picture deal, but it has narration and music with it. And I think Mom was pretty excited to know that his memory is still alive in our community. The other one was, of course, at the park. It's the farm park. If you haven't been out to Gossamer Grove, you really ought to go for a ride. It's in the newest area that's being built. And Lennar did pay for this statue of the war dog, which really commemorates the fact that dogs are with service guys in service, as well as even after they come home. They're being used a lot for PTSD, as well as other problems that the fellows have. And there were 2 fellows that gave a background about themselves and what they're doing now in training dogs and placing dogs with, and encouraging people to use these dogs for therapy. The Kern River Blue Star Moms with Cheryl Taylor was the one that led the group. She lives out there, talked to Lennar, came and did a presentation to us. And so it was really nice now to know that that project became a reality, because there is no other dog park, memorial park in Kern County, and Shafter got the first one. So it's pretty cool. If you get a chance, just go out there, drive by there and look at it. as the guy said, the park is really a very pretty park. The fellow that designed it, that works for Lennar, he was pretty excited to be able to see what was happening down there. And then I did attend the Distinguished Young Women, which was last Friday, and a young girl named Faith Bazaldua. Oh, that has to be good. She's a tiny thing. She's smaller than you, Kathy, but let me tell you, she was just dynamic. She was so excited. When they announced her name, I don't know if she really realized that it was happening to her, but she was very, very excited about it. And she will gain so much in this program, and we'll be able to have her as a representative for this next year. She will be at the state competition in Bakersfield in July. And I'm really excited for her because she's got a lot ahead of her, and it'll really be fun to watch her as she matures. But the e-waste and the bulk deal, I mean, it amazes me. It amazes me that so many people do respond, and it's good. It's really good that it's there. And how many years have you been doing it? Yeah, see how the years, yeah, it's just, and still, I don't know where the people get all that stuff, but yeah, they do respond. Yeah, I took a printer. You know, I didn't want to have to get rid of the printer. I liked it, but it wouldn't work for me anymore. And you can't pay to have them fixed. You might as well get a new one. So I bought a new one, and then I took my really nice looking printer and sent it off with e-waste. But yeah, lots of activities and lots of things happening. And so it was a pleasure to share that with you. Yes, Chad, did you have anything to add?
No, I think you covered pretty much everything, Kathy. We're good.
Yeah, well, I know you'd been pretty busy before and finished up the play, and then you've been out of town, so. Anyway, we'll get you on the next one. Okay, we'll move on to consent calendar. And we have quite a few items on the consent calendar, and I'll highlight them as short as I can, but I think you need to know what we have. We have approval of checks, payroll, overtime report for March, minutes for March, and special event permit for 2 events. Dia del Niño Fiesta, which is going to be held at the Learning Center at the library area, and they expect about 200, 300 people to attend, and it's on April the 21st. We also have a special event permit for a vendor fair at the Congregational Bible Church, and it's on April 30th from 8 to 3. We have a letter of support for the Assembly Bill 1599, and that has to do with Prop 47 and to repeal what was put in there years ago, and hoping that we can kind of rein in some of the crime scenes that we have going on. Number 8 is adopt an ordinance number 733, amending Title 5 for the City of Shafter Municipal Code that streamlines the permits that require live scan services for the Shafter PD. Number 9 is to adopt ordinance number 734, adopting the addendum to mitigated negative declaration and adopting a development agreement for the tentative tract number 6490. That is a project located on the east side of South Mantle between East Ash and East Los Angeles. Proposing a development there with 107 lots. Also, number 10 is to receive and file the notice of non-renewal of a Williamson Act land use contract on 19.55 acres. And that's on Fresno Avenue, where we're proposing and hope to have our new park real soon. Community park, about a year. Can we see that about in a year?
I don't have an honest, honestly, I don't have a projection.
Not yet, huh? Okay, but it's coming, huh? Okay, the next one is to adopt resolution number 2856, initiating proceedings for landscaping and lighting for the formation and ordering the preparation of the engineer's report. And that one is at North Los Angeles, south of East Ash and East Mantle. Number 12 is to ratify a purchase agreement with Richland School District in the amount of $20,112 annually for 3 to 8 years, including a 5 one-year renewal option for the lease of the city-owned dark fiber circuits. Number 13 is to authorize the release for bidding purposes for the 2022 Santa Fe Way Shoulder Improvement Project. Number 14 is to authorize the release of bidding purposes of the 2022 Zerker Road Reconstruction Project. Number 15, accept a dedication of an easement for public landscaping and approve a landscape easement agreement with Target Corporation. Number 16 is to adopt resolution number 2857, approving and adopting an amended conflict of interest code pursuant to Political Reform Act of 1974. Number 17 is to adopt resolution number 2858, authorizing a Shafter dollar ride service for electric vehicle purchase. Number 18 is to provide a license agreement with the Well Rehabilitation Services for temporary use of a city water tank site located at 401 Commercial Way. Number 19 is to declare surplus 2007 Attitude 25 AK toy hauler, which is our OTS trailer, and approve it for auction due to the excess maintenance costs and needed repairs. Also, number 20, which is the last one, approve the purchase of 2 Ford police utility vehicles from Jim Burke Ford with outfitting, emergency equipment, and graphics for a total of $62,696.63 per vehicle. Any questions or any comments about any of our consent? None, we'll entertain.
Is there a way that we can pull number 13? And the only reason I'm asking is I spoke to Gabriel earlier, and I think he has some good information that would be nice to share. So is there a way just to pull that?
Yes. Okay, so any other questions? Okay, I need a motion then to approve all the items with 13 pulled.
I'll make a
motion. Oh, go ahead, Caesar.
I'll make a motion to approve as read.
Okay, we have a motion. Do I get a second?
I'll second.
Excuse me. All right, we have a motion and a second. We need roll call.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, now you can talk about 13.
So, Mayor and Council, on this particular item, as Mayor Pro Tem said, we had spoken about it earlier. And some point of interest for council and the community is that we received a notice of funding from the Congressman Valadil's office. They're doing their annual budget appropriation request from their constituent cities, members. And so working with the Public Works Director, we will be submitting a appropriation request. It's very competitive. There's no guarantee we'll receive it, but it would be for the widening of Santa Fe along the same corridor that we're proposing to do the shoulder widening. And so we thought it would be of interesting point of interest for you to know that as a city, we are always looking for ways to improve that segment of Santa Fe. And as I said, it's a very competitive process, but we are submitting, it'll probably range between 10 and 15 million requests. But we're at least bringing some attention to the fact that we do need some funding to make improvements to that roadway.
But number 13 is just to do the shoulder improvement.
Correct, at this time. But as discussion with Mayor Pro Tem, he thought it would be worthwhile to mention that we are looking to submit an appropriation request to Congressman Valadil's office.
It's a consistent question asked about when are we going to widen Santa Fe? And so I thought, instead of just talking about doing the shoulder improvements, which are needed, not saying no to that at all, but it's really nice to know that, those comments aren't going into a void and no one's listening, but they are trying to look for, staff is trying to sit there and figure out funding sources in ways that they can get that road widened. So I just thought it would be good to at least have that information out there publicly.
Okay, it is public, but also know the public should be aware that how many years have we been requesting that anyway, if you recall?
For Santa Fe specifically?
Yes.
Not too long. We're using it's programmed in the Federal Transportation Improvement Program through the CMAQ of fund, which typically goes to shoulder projects. And our past CMAQ projects have focused on, I think we had the rail equipment purchase a few years back, and perhaps shoulder improvements on Lerdo, if I'm not mistaken. But Santa Fe Way hasn't been in the queue for quite some time. And I just wanted to point out that we are working directly with Congressman Valdeo's office on this funding lead. We're still getting developments on what the funding cap and what type of project they're looking for. There's resurfacing options that we estimate to be about resurfacing the existing pavement, which we estimate to be about $4 million, which would potentially complement the shoulder work. The widening portion is a lot to it. There's relocating power poles, obtaining right of way, which could be a 3 to 5 year project. And in the widening portion, if you're going to widen Santa Fe Way, you're probably going to still want to resurface the existing pavement lanes. We've seen the crack filling out there, and we're holding it together. But so I think all in, widening, resurfacing Santa Fe Way with right of way, pole relocation, it's probably a $12 to $14 million project. And so what we're trying to explore with Congressman Valdeo's office is whether we have the funding capacity to do such a project, and whether that would include right of way, power poles, things like that. We're under the impression they're looking for shovel ready projects, and the widening would take some time, which is why we might want to consider resurfacing if they're looking for shovel ready, because we could turn that around fairly quick with the set of construction plans.
Great. Okay, so we'll have a motion to adopt this.
I'll make a motion.
Yeah. Couldn't unmute fast enough. Thank you, Caesar. I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilmember Lopez, seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Givens.
Yes.
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 Yes. Okay, we'll move on to public hearings. The first item we have is for track 6467, an extension of time.
Sure, Mayor and Council, our planning director will be making a presentation on this item.
Thank you.
Honorable Council, my name is Steve Esselman. I'm the Planning Director for the city. And the item before you tonight is an extension of time for tentative track 6467, phase number 2, which is, this is the project site here on the map that is being shown to you right now. So extension of time, the original tract was approved by the city council in 05, February of 05. Then in 06, the first phase of this tract was recorded. We're talking today about an extension of time for just the phase 2 of this tract, which includes 90 single family residential lots ranging in size from about 8,000 square feet to 1.33 acres for their lot sizes. The applicant is requesting a 2-year extension to expire in February of 2024. The reason for the extension is being requested because they are waiting for the right opportunity to develop this tract. Last month, the Planning Commission considered this request and recommended approval of the request to the City Council. And just to let you know that there will be a new development agreement that will be required for this tract that will be, if approved tonight, will be coming to you in the future once that tract starts to develop and it becomes active again. Just to give you a sense, this is the tract itself. These are the tract of homes for that phase 2. And so staff's recommendation is to conduct hearing and then adopt resolution 2853 approving a 2-year extension of time for track 6467 phase 2. And that ends my presentation. I'm available for questions.
Any questions at this time?
Yeah, I have just one. Have the neighboring track is aware of this meeting? Being, I know in the past they've come and had their concerns of this development. One was exits and stuff like that. Is this still too premature to in-depth questions like that?
I'm sorry, your question is to have people been
Well,
notified?
yes, I guess the track that's there now, they had a lot of concerns about this new development. If this was approved or if this got developed, I guess they were talking about ways of exiting from this development. I don't know if there was changes done in the past, or I don't know where we're at with that. You familiar what I'm talking about, right, Mike?
I believe you're talking the first phase of the track. The residents that are established in 6467 were concerned that there would be increased traffic and perhaps maybe speeding through there.
On Aldridge, and because that
This
was only
was
one-
several years ago.
Right.
And I don't know that this is their last opportunity to voice their concern about the project.
You know, I have not heard any of those concerns as I was working through this project. I did not know that there were concerns.
Yeah, we
from
had
the,
like multiple families come, multiple residents, and Mike has a history, council has a history of them coming and petitioning, I guess. They had a lot of concerns. And I didn't realize how time goes so fast, but it does go by fast. You know, like, which is yesterday.
What I
talked about-
can say is that this was noticed, and that there's a boundary around the site of people that were noticed for this public hearing. So the noticing did occur, including that tract adjacent to it because it is so close. So noticing has occurred regarding this extension of time. Now, the extension of time doesn't change anything that was previously approved back in 2005. We are simply extending the time on an already approved map. So,
excuse me, Mike, do you remember us talking about, there was a list of stuff we were gonna check before at a time, sometime? I just don't know the timeline of when all this stuff has to be approved or adjusted or corrections. Do you remember there was like a list of stuff we were planning to correct before anything? Or I don't know, this might not be the time for it, but I just didn't want something to pass and then we blew the opportunity.
I don't recall that we committed to correcting anything, but that there would be probably ample opportunity for them to have a say in how the project is ultimately developed. But that is several years ago, and I don't.
Yeah, because I know there was a concern of an exit and another exit on Redwood, or what's not Redwood, but Fresno.
It's in the report. guys.
Yeah.
It's in right
Okay.
here.
Correct.
So, all right.
It's in the report. This is just for the extension, as you
Right.
said.
correct.
Yeah.
Okay, I just didn't want something to pass and that we didn't.
And they did get notified.
Okay.
Okay. So at this time, I'd like to open the public hearing for anyone who cares to address council for or against the extension of this property. Extension of time. Hearing none, we'll close the public hearing. Were there any other questions?
No.
Because at least they did get the notice and they know about it, and it's just extending the time. So
I'll make a motion to approve.
thank you.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Givens, seconded by Councilmember Lopez to approve for track extension of time.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Next item is the management report, which is to ratify the award for paving improvements and the modified community corrections facility site mitigation in the amount of $26,631 to the Kern Asphalt Paving and Sealing Company, and proposal price for said paving improvements plus contingencies.
Sorry, Mayor and Council, typically this item, excuse me, would have been a ministerial item put under consent, but we thought it would be noteworthy because of what we're dealing with in the market in terms of oil and materials that are oil-based. And then two, obviously, to get you to ratify the fact that we sole source this to exercise fiduciary responsibility given the current circumstances we're dealing with. And so I'll have our Public Works Director providing more background as to this particular matter item. Mike?
Yes, Honorable Mayor, members of the Shaft City Council, the opening of the MCCF several years ago required access easements from neighboring businesses. One easement was provided by Inseclor, which required the installation of a block wall that resulted in the loss of on-site parking for their employees. These employees were provided ultimately with a temporary city-owned lot for comparable parking capacity, but the easement agreement stipulated that the city restore the original parking layout upon the closure of the MCCF. And now that the MCCF has been closed, the council authorized expenditures to award the demolition and removal of the block wall, which has been completed. The scope of work previously authorized by the council did not include actually paving the parking lot or restoring the paving. We had to really wait until the demolition work was done until we could really assess what the paving scope of work was and how much damage the demolition work actually caused. So we assessed the condition and we asked, initially we anticipated, assuming typical asphalt pricing, that this work was going to be valued at $15,000 or less, which is why we pursued one proposal from Kern Asphalt. But as we've learned from the Administrative Services Director, Mr. Sanchez, during his presentation, nothing about pricing is typical. There's just unheard of inflation that we're contending with. And to our surprise, the Kern Asphalt's quote exceeded $26,000. We didn't receive alternative proposals, but we did have an opportunity to get verbal confirmation from other contractors and industry professionals that supply shortages coupled with the dramatic increase in oil pricing has dramatically impacted asphalt bids. So facing a commitment to restore Inseclor's parking as soon as possible, as well as a forecast that the asphalt situation was going to get worse before it got better, staff felt compelled felt it was in the best interest to award the work without a traditional bid process and ahead of formal council action to proceed. So this work has already commenced. So we're here tonight to request council ratification of the prior staff approval. Given that the MCCF site mitigation work previously authorized by the council did not include paving, we're also going to ask for a budget amendment to make sure it's funded. So we're recommending specifically a general fund appropriation of $30,000 to cover the Kern Asphalt's proposal plus contingencies. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Do we need any more clarification? Everybody all right? Questions? No,
So it's 30,000, and what was it originally?
estimated.
We were estimating 15,000, and then the Kern Asphalt proposal came in at just over 26,000.
Okay.
The work has yet to be completed, so which is why we're asking for contingencies to ensure we have enough to see the job through to completion.
You know, what was that time span from the 15 to 30?
Maybe 2 or 3 months.
Yeah, I mean, if we don't do it now, it's going to go even higher probably.
It's not looking good.
No,
No, it's not. So, okay, you entertain a motion?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilmember Lopez, seconded by Councilmember Espinoza to ratify this award.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, the next item, number 2, is a city charter review.
So, Mayor and Council, this council has a unique opportunity to conduct a charter review. As you know, the city of Shafter is a charter city, and this item tonight will be in collaboration between our city attorney's office, Henry Castillo, our city clerk, Yasmina, and myself. And it's basically sort of a city charter 101 overview. Perhaps probably only you, Mayor, and Councilmember Alvarado have undergone the charter review process, given that this is done every 10 years. By way of background, the city went from a general law city to a charter city in 1995. And in 2000, the city did not undergo a city charter review. And so the last charter review that was conducted was in 2010. Our city charter does require us to do a review every 10 years with the census, and it's that time again. So for tonight, for a way of background for the other council members, we have a PowerPoint presentation to make to you to provide background, basically the nuts and bolts of a charter city, and then we'll talk about process and how we did it in 2010. We have some suggestions / recommendations to proceed for this year. I will say that we are in a timeline because any changes that we ultimately, you as a council decide to make to the charter, we do have to submit ballot language to the county by the second week of August. And so time is of the essence that we do get this underway sooner rather than later. So with that, let me go ahead and get the PowerPoint queued up, and then I'll have Henry will lead us off. Henry Castillo with the city attorney's office will lead us off and just providing some background in charter city versus general law city and what a charter does and how that differentiates. So with that, Henry, it's me now.
Thank you, Gabriel. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I hope that the council will be able to see it.
Yes, it looks fine. Has your name. Isn't he up here too? No, let's do this.
Are you guys able to see my PowerPoint presentation?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor and Council. Like Gabriel said, I'm here to help you guys with the charter amendment process and also with the charter required decimal review committee. So today I'm going to go over what a charter city is, the difference between a charter city and a general law city, and then also talk about the charter amendment process. So as many of you know, California has two types of cities. One's a general law city and the other one's a charter city. The nature of the presentation will be the distinction between the two, specific examples of a charter city powers, and also the procedures for amending a charter. So a charter city is a city that has formally adopted its own charter. What that means is that the city has what a lot of people like to refer to as its own constitution. And a general law city is governed, it doesn't have a charter, and it's governed by the general laws provided by the state. Of California's 482 cities, approximately 360 are general law cities. So most of the cities in the state are general law cities, with the other what's that 40 with the around 120 cities being charter cities. So a charter city has supreme authority over what's called their municipal affairs. The municipal affairs don't have to all be contained in the charter. The city of Shafter's charter is pretty short. And some of those powers can be contained in the city's municipal code as well. The charter cities don't have authority over what's over matters of statewide concern. I'm also going to touch on some matters that are statewide concern where charter cities don't have any authority over. One of those examples that we're all familiar with is the Brown Act. Charter cities have to abide by the Brown Act. And over the years, this statewide concern has increased, and it's narrowed the distinction between charter and general law cities. So what is a municipal affair? So here's a list of some of the big ticket items, but it is not limited to just this. So some of the municipal affairs include municipal elections, methods of enacting local ordinances, compensation of city officials and employees, public contracting, acquisition and establishment of municipal parks, operation of municipally owned utilities, imposition of license tax on local businesses. The California Constitution, unfortunately, does not define what a municipal affair is, and therefore it's been up to the courts to define the what this term means. Some of the areas of statewide concern where a charter city has no authority to act is the Brown Act, which governs all public legislative bodies. A charter city can't say we won't adhere to the Brown Act. We're going to do our own public meeting laws. That's not a municipal affair. Another statewide concern is the Public Records Act. Regulation of traffic and vehicles, licensing of members of a trade or profession, CEQA regulations, exercise of eminent domain, Government Claims Act, and also labor relations. So these are some of the matters of statewide concern. And as many as you know, the statewide concern has grown and grown as each legislative session has passed. So like I said, the distinction between general law and charter cities has narrowed over time. So specific to the city of Shafter is that the city charter was approved by Shafter voters on June 6, 1995. And like Gabriel said earlier, there has been no amendment since its adoption in 1995. There was a decimal review committee that was convened and I believe in 2011, and they did not have any recommendations, or those recommendations were not adopted. So what's the procedure for drafting and adopting a city charter amendment? So state law generally provides 3 methods to amend a charter. One would be the city council drafts the charter amendment and proposes it to the voters. The other one is an elected charter commission drafts the charter amendment and submits it directly to the voters, or a citizen initiative, which requires 15% of the signature petitions, and it's filed by placing a charter amendment directly on the ballot. Specific to the city of Shafter is the Decimal Review Committee. So Article 10, Section 10.02 of the city charter requires that within 60 days of reporting the official results for the city by the United States Census Bureau, each decimal census of population, the council shall create a citizens charter advisory committee. So this had to be created no more than 60 days after the reporting of the official results. So we're a little bit behind the ball already. Especially it's 2022. The reason why we're bringing this up now is because the census information was delayed because of COVID, and it was released in late September. And after convening the Citizens Charter Advisory Committee, they have not more than 6 months to make any recommendations to the council regarding any revisions which it may feel will be beneficial to the city. So once the commission starts meeting, I believe that at your next council meeting, we'll go ahead. You'll go ahead and appoint and approve the formation of a charter commission to consider possible amendments. The charter commission is going to make recommendations, and it will be up to the city council whether you move forward with these or not. The commission is going to conduct meetings and hearings and propose charter amendments to the council that may be beneficial to the city. If the city believes that these charters will be beneficial to the city will adopt these ordinances and place the charter amendments on the ballot. The proposed charter amendments would be voted on the next election, and our next election date that we would be aiming to make any proposed revisions would be November 8, 2022. And under state law, we would need to no later than 95 days propose those. So that deadline would be August 5th, 2022. And if the majority of the voters approve the charter amendments, they would be ratified and filed with the Secretary of State. And here's a timeline that we've worked on. The commission would actually begin deliberations in May through June 2021. And if there's an approval by the majority of the voters, they would go to the city clerk. The council meeting and the call of the election that we're trying to meet by would be August 5th, 2022. So before, yes, August 5th, 2022. So before, so as you can see, we're working with a very tight timeline. So we would need the commission to go ahead and meet May, June, make any recommendations by July. And then if the city council would like to move forward with those recommendations, we would need to have that all finalized by August 5th. And that August 5th deadline would be to meet the November 8th election date. And that concludes my presentation. Does the city council have any questions?
Any questions from anybody? I don't hear anything, so I guess we're good.
Mayor and Council, I'd like to just have our city clerk provide some additional background based on some research that she conducted, just so that you had a comparison of how other charter cities may undergo the process. And through her network of city clerks, she reached out to her network, and she has just some additional information that, like I said, just for comparison purposes. Yes, ma'am?
Yes. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Some background information for the Citizen Charter Advisory Committee. The research that I have done, the bigger cities, the council members were able to appoint 5 members each. On cities that were more our size, there was about 1 to 2 on average. So that was some background information that I was able to find. In 2011, when the Citizen Charter Advisory Committee conducted their recommendations, there was 1 member per council, 1 appointee per council member, I'm sorry. And they came with several, well, no recommendations were adopted. They were fine with the charter as is. Again, this was over 10 years ago. That was one of the times have changed, but so it is up to the appointees that you have. They will basically just recommend policies. They don't actually make changes to the charter. They will recommend on the policies of them. So they will meet. We are planning in April. Well, you would appoint them on the April 19th meeting. They will meet in May and June. We are hoping to do hybrid meetings, meaning we can do them in person and Zoom. A Zoom will be a great help to us for them to be able to meet more frequently. And I think that will be a lot better for us to meet with them and to get everything going for you by the end of June, early July. And in 2011, they met in person, and I think that was just due to the times, and it was a lot harder. I think they only met twice, 2 or 3 times. I was not able to find any minutes for the 2011 charter review. So on our side, it was kind of hard to do any research. There wasn't that much information, except that there were no recommendations.
There was a written report.
There was a report that was given to council at a council meeting, but there weren't any minutes from the meetings that they held for the committee. So I was not able to see what they discussed internally, except what was given to the
We don't
council.
even know if they met one time or multiple times. Huh?
No, I believe they met one time because
At
I
least.
was able to find
Yeah.
letters
Yeah.
that said, hey, you've been appointed and are you available for this date? But I was not able to find any actual minutes for those meetings, except the recommendations that were brought to the council.
So I'm sorry, go ahead, Mayor.
Were there any other questions or comments? Go ahead.
Yeah, certainly, Mayor and Council. So as our Assistant City Attorney Henry has mentioned, given the timeline that we have, ideally what we like to do is with you appointing, well, first, the one question to you is, are you still fine with just 1 appointee per council member, or for discussion for you is, do you want 2, right? The more obviously creates a concern in terms of trying to get 10 people to agree to times and dates. But that is the reason why, as the city clerk mentioned, the reason to offer a hybrid meeting option of either in person and or via Zoom, so that people's flexibility can be better met. Also, too, we would be looking at, with you appointing your appointees on the 19th, of scheduling something as early as the 25th, the week of the 25th, so that the city attorney's office and city staff can provide some background information to the committee members. I don't know what the background knowledge may be of these individuals, that their familiarity with the city charter, and as Henry just presented, kind of charter city versus general law, and kind of better understand their role. We'd want to provide some additional research information so they can have some comparisons of looking at what other city charters do versus what we have, and then get them to agree as a committee to meeting at least every 2 weeks between May and June, so that they are diligently working in the review process, so that the first meeting in July, they have a list of recommendations to you. And then you as a council have at least 2 bites at the apple, the first and second meeting of July, to which to consider those recommendations, if necessary, even the first meeting of August. But the first meeting of August would be the drop dead date to adopt any of those changes, since we would have to submit to the county by that August date with the actual ballot language. So we would need the city attorney's office to already have some draft language for that. So those are the only other further comments I had, Mayor and Council.
Any questions from council? So come forward with a candidate or appointee or
I think
whatever.
one's probably good.
Yeah, well, especially if they're gonna do both in person and Zoom. I mean, they should commit and just do it.
Just one's good for me.
Yeah. I mean, there is some cleaning up to do, and then they can discuss any other. Okay? Chad?
I'm good with one. Yeah, no, I'm good with one.
Okay,
I'm good with
Sounds
one,
good.
too.
all right, so we'll bring your name forward, ready to be put in action on the next meeting of the 19th of April.
Okay, thank you, Mayor and Council. That's all we had.
There's no, I'm sorry, Gabe, there's no criteria, right? It's just us picking some.
No. That there's be a city resident, obviously.
Oh,
and-
yeah, okay, yeah.
yeah.
Other than, okay, just those two.
Oh, yeah, Rotor.
Thank you.
Okay, no other questions? I believe we need to ask for city manager comments and reports.
Certainly, Mayor and Council, just a quick update is spring break is coming up. That's next week. Just want to let you know, I'll be sending a schedule out of your directors. We do have some staff that will be out taking advantage of the spring break to be with their families, since school will be out. Dia del Niño Festival, Thursday, April 21st, 5:30 to 7:30 at our chapter library and learning center. So put that on your calendar, come out and join us. And then the Kern County Economic Summit is scheduled for Saturday, April 23rd, 6:30 to 8:30. That's going to be live. It's going to be televised on KGET channel 17. And then the Cinco de Mayo parade, 10 a.m. downtown Shafter. Festivals to continue at Manlow Park immediately following. For those of you that have not already signed up, the 2022 Kern County Water Summit is scheduled for Thursday, May 19th at 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Mechanics Bank Theater. Please let our city clerk know if you plan to attend so that we can make sure to RSVP for you. And then the annual Memorial Day ceremony is scheduled for Saturday, May 28th, 9 a.m. at the Bakersfield National Cemetery. And with that, I have nothing further. And I don't believe our Public Works Director had an update or any other director. So that concludes both the city manager and director comments.
You know, I might add, I checked at the cemetery here locally, and they're planning an event on Memorial Day. This one is on Saturday at the National, but then our local one will do one on Memorial Day.
Oh, okay. Yeah, if you have that information, we can put it on our community calendar.
Yes, well, I talked to them and they were scheduling it, so. And I know the ladies or the people involved out at the War Memorial for the dog have offered to help, but they had some other volunteers too, so, yeah. Thank you.
Okay, Mhm.
And there are no other staff reports, Chief? you
No.
have anything? No?
Oh, sorry.
Okay, we don't have any more reports. We have to have a closed session, so I'll need a motion to recess, and the session is a conference with real property negotiators, the rail and industrial parcels between Burbank Avenue and 7 Standard Road. Negotiating parties is the wonderful real estate CEO, John Gwen, and under negotiations, the price and terms.
Mayor Prout, with respect, I have to recuse myself for the closed session as I work for the wonderful company.
Yes. Okay. Anything else? I need a motion then.
I'll make the motion to go in closed session.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilmember Alvarado, seconded by Councilmember Espinosa, recess for closed session, and it's 7:06. All in favor, say aye.
All right.
Aye, opposed, no?
Aye.
Okay, we are
Yeah.
access into closed session. All members were present except for Councilmember Givens, who was not participating due to a conflict of interest given his employment by the wonderful company, and Councilmember Lopez, who was not available for tonight's closed session. City Council heard a presentation from its negotiating team regarding the property listed on the agenda, and we have no reportable action.
Okay, any other business before council? We are adjourned. 8:13.